So this is a taping technique for plantar fasciitis, and we're using 1-inch zinc oxide tape. So in terms of setup, then we want this foot and ankle in a plantar grade position, so like they would be weight bearing, and our first anchor strip is going to be around the transverse arch. So this is free from any tension at all, and I can push the first met backwards just to ensure that transverse arch is nice and flattened, and back round to where we started with our first anchor strip. The next anchor is going to be a horseshoe around the back of the calcaneus, again free from tension, where we're going to start it medially, wrap around the back of the calcaneus, and then attach into the lateral anchor round here. So because the objective from this technique is to support the medial longitudinal arch, our next two strips are going to incorporate tension to really support that structure and prevent excessive eversion, and also prevent excessive flattening of the arch, which would increase tension going through the plantar fascia. So our next strip is going to start medially. It's going to follow the anchor round the back of the calcaneus, and then we're going to introduce some tension. So I'm going to pinch round towards here, add some tension, and pull it up round to where we started. And you can see upon pressure and upon palpation, that tapes under a fair bit of tension. The next one is going to start laterally, and then it brings round towards the medial aspect, where again we can pinch it to hopefully minimise the tape from creasing, and then pull up with tension and rip it off around where we started. So we're left with a cross over the plantar aspect of the foot. The next strips are going to be going from the lateral side to the medial side of the foot, and they're going to be incorporating tension as well. It's really important to remember these aren't medial to lateral, because that would be pulling the foot into an everted position and therefore flattening the arch and putting more pressure onto the plantar fascia. So these have got to be lateral to medial. So if we could just maintain that plantar grade position, keeping the heel pad free from tape, adding tension, anchor to anchor, and we're going to rip off here. These are going to be overlapping by half. All the way from top to bottom. With our last strip just going over where our first anchor was over the transverse arch. And then our last two bits of tape are going to be closing strips, which will just close off all the loose ends and minimise the risk of the tape coming unstuck, and it should make it a nice strong technique. So our first closing strip will be the same as before, the horseshoe starting off around the transverse arch on the medial side, pulling around the back of the calcaneus, and then attaching on the lateral side. And then if required, which it probably will be in most instances, we're going to close off round the transverse arch again, keeping the tape free from any tension at all, pushing the first met backwards to further flatten it. That's going to go over all those really important strips which we've just done, and then close off here. So really make sure it's nice and attached to the foot, make sure it's firmly stuck down and there are no rough endings, and that's your plantar fascia taping technique for using 1-inch zinc oxide tape.